Hi, it's Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky, and I'm back with my plans and pans. I'm wearing red and white today because I started out my day celebrating Polish Constitution Day. It's actually the longest lasting constitution from the 1700s, 1793 in Europe. And every year, the Polish community, which is very robust in the city of Chicago and even in the 9th Congressional District, celebrates Constitution Day, starting with a breakfast and then followed by a parade in Chicago. And I was really honored to be there, be able to express my thanks to the Polish community at home and in Poland. You know, Poland has opened its doors to refugees from Ukraine like no other country has. People have taken them into their homes, and it's really been an incredible outpouring of support, which is not easy given the huge number of refugees that they have welcomed. And of course, in our community, we're going to see more and more refugees because the President of the United States announced that 100,000 Ukrainians would come here. But the Polish community sees them, and the speaker from Poland talked about them as their brothers and sisters. Well, that's kind of the joyful thing for today. I followed that up by going to a rally because of the unspeakable announcement, or I should say leaked document that said that the Supreme Court, I call it a rogue Supreme Court, said that they would overturn Roe versus Wade. And pretty much of a complete overturn was in this leaked opinion that was sent. So this rally was an example of what is a tsunami of opposition to this. There were, with about 24 hours notice, hundreds of people out in Skokie, Illinois, protesting this. Young people, old people. One of the things we heard from were 3 students from high schools in the district who talked about what it meant to them, how angry they were, how frightened they were. And other elected officials at the state level, because of course in Illinois, the state legislature has done a great job to really protect abortion rights in our state. And we're going to be seeing women coming from other states to Illinois. I know Planned Parenthood is working on provisions to make sure that we can accommodate some of those people. But the truth of the matter is, if this were to become the law, then we know that women of means will always be able to get abortions. But women who are struggling, single moms, low-income women, often women of color, are going to have a hard time even to travel to another state. And we know that as a consequence, women will die. I have a button that I've worn for a long time. I've had this button for a long time that says, Roe wasn't the beginning of women having abortions. It was the end of women dying from abortions. And I heard a story last week from a friend of mine, Greg Johnson, who's actually running for state legislature in the Quad Cities, a story about his mother. His mother was told by her doctor that if she had this child that she was carrying at the time, and it was just before Roe passed, that she would die. She could not take the pregnancy. So she put all the money that she could scrounge together and went to the only place where abortions were legal, and that was New York. And she got to New York and was told when she got there that it was too late in her pregnancy and she had to go home. So she went home and she celebrated the 4th of July with her children. And Greg told us that, and this was hard for him to talk about, as you can imagine, told us his mother died in delivery of that baby, leaving him at 5 years old and his little sister orphans. That is the consequence. And it is a rogue court that is making a decision counter to the vast majority of opinion of Americans, all Americans. That is the supermajority of Democrats, about 3/4 of independents, and the majority of Republicans, according to recent polls. So this is not the position that Americans want in this country, and yet they are making, it looks like, a decision that will cost lives and that will be opposed by most Americans. Now, the other thing you should know about these justices is that in their confirmation hearings, they all, to a person of the 5 who supposedly are ready to vote to overturn Roe, said that it was precedence. It was the law of the land, according to the Supreme Court, and that they would not want to go against precedent. Well, of course, all of them were telling a lie. And so we are in this position right now. You should know that the House of Representatives, for the first time in the history of our country, now has a majority that supports the right to abortion. And we passed a law that would guarantee access to abortion. It's called the Women's Health Protection Act, and we passed it and sent that legislation over to the Senate. We are very close in the Senate to having enough votes to actually either eliminate or change the filibuster to make sure that the Senate also could pass the bill and send it to the White House and say to the American people that the right of abortion is now protected in the United States of America. This week, Senator Durbin and I had a press conference about our legislation called the Inform Consumer Act. This is for online consumers to protect against counterfeit, stolen, or dangerous products that can be sold on online marketplaces. What we want to do is hold platforms like Amazon and Facebook, who host these marketplaces, to make sure that they are required to vet all of these marketplaces, to make sure that these products are not harmful or fake. I passed that legislation in the House. It has already passed, and Senator Durbin is working on it in the Senate. But what both of us are trying to do is to get it to be part of a much larger bill about competitiveness, about the overall marketplace. In the House, that bill is called the Competes Act, and I am on the conference committee with a number of other members to work out all of the details. But this is a very, very important piece. Let me just give you an example of the harm that can be done. Walgreens sells products that require refrigeration. Well, you want to make sure that those things, medications or other liquid products that they sell, that they are not fake, that they are not stolen by those who don't follow by those rules. So you can imagine that it could be very dangerous to get those products. We also had a representative from a company that deals with bicycle and bicycle parts and bicycle helmets, and he showed how a fake bicycle helmet because he went and jumped on it, cracked in a way that could cause injury or death. It looked absolutely just like the real thing. So if we get this, it will get all this passed. It will make the marketplace, ordering online, consumers can be more confident that they are going to get what they paid for. This week I had the pleasure of going to the Disney Magnet School, which is in Chicago and in my district, a large school of about 1,600 kids, K through 8th grade. And to not only talk to the students, which is always a joy to me. You know, I started out as a teacher and answer their questions, but also to tell them that through the community project funding, my ability to get some funding to organizations and municipalities in my district, not-for-profit places, including schools, $82,500 for their arts program and for their STEM program. So I think this is going to go a long way to help the students in that community and in that school. In addition, my husband Bob, had the pleasure of going to an iftar dinner. That is after sundown during Ramadan. And of course, Ramadan ended this week with the big Eid celebration, which is the end of the month of fasting of Ramadan. But every day during Ramadan, once the sun goes down, then the Muslim community can have their meal. And sometimes they make it a celebration. So we went to the Rohingya Community Center. The Rohingya people are, in some ways, the most oppressed in the world. They were the victims of genocide in Myanmar, deprived of education, most of them, for all of their lives. And about 1 million of them now in refugee camps. So those that have been able to get to the Chicago area, we have about 500 families in the 9th Congressional District, one of the largest concentrations of the Rohingya people. So we went to this wonderful dinner. About 7:45 was the end of the fast. We had this incredible homemade meal. It was absolutely delicious. The head of the center, his wife was the wonderful, wonderful cook. But then I was also able to announce a $50,000 gift to the center. It was really for their homework program, but specifically we're able to get them about 80 laptops, the ability to store them properly, and a little bit of money to help them with their rent and their utilities for the year. It was really appreciated. This is a community that certainly needs that kind of support, and I was so happy that through these funds that I'm able to bring to the communities, that I was able to help them. So the month of May is an important month for a lot of communities. This is the Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. And, I have, and certainly there's a growing community of Asian Americans throughout our country, but a growing one in my community as well. And I am proud to represent a very diverse community. Devon Avenue is considered the most diverse street in the country. And lots of Asian Americans from very, very diverse countries make up that group. It is also Older Americans Month. And as the co-chair and founder of the Task Force on Aging and Families, I am so happy that we can really have a discussion and talk about all those policies to affect older Americans. We do not have a long-term care policy in the United States that we need so much. I want to let you know that on an individual basis, my office is so effective in helping older Americans, older adults, get the kind of benefits that they need, be their veterans benefits, be it Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. So I want you to be sure and call my office if you need help, not just in Older Americans Month, but anytime. Mary Beth Stein, who's on my staff, is just a genius in getting through the red tape and getting problems solved. So give her a call. It is also Jewish American Heritage Month. And as a member of the Jewish community, I am happy to tell you that the Library of Congress, the National Endowment for the Arts, the National Archives, have all come together to provide all kinds of information. So if you go to jewishheritagemonth.gov, you can find out all kinds of fascinating information about the Jewish community in the United States and around the world. The Holocaust Museum is participating in the activities and the distribution of information. So please do that. And finally, for a coronavirus update, the White House has been asking and continues to ask that Congress pass an additional $22.5 billion in COVID aid. Without that, it will be hard to make sure that programs to vaccinate and provide treatment for people, particularly people in low-income communities, really need the help, and the money is running out for these very important programs. I wanted to just tell you what's going on here at home. The 9 counties that are in and around the city of Chicago, that the risk level has gone from up to medium, and now the city of Chicago is certainly recommending that you use masks when you are indoors. So we want to be very, very careful. The number of people who have died has actually continued to drop. That is the good news. So we aren't seeing people hospitalized as much or dying, but there are cases of COVID-19. So everybody take care, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where my handle is @Jan Schakowsky.